Hi, friends. We are live and we're going to do a new concept, and it's called Twin Flame Abundance Live. I'm going to do it every Saturday for the foreseeable future, and you are welcome to join in. The whole point is that we start to interact, as far as I'm concerned. Although, there will be, of course, a lot of talking from me, and I hope it's inspirational and healing and helpful for your twin flame journey. It includes your mission journey and your soul money and your complete abundance, your inner abundance. Yeah, that's what it includes because the twin flame is the entrance to that world. That is your true abundance according to your soul blueprint, your soul inheritance. That's really what that is. It's the door to it, when you make the twin flame come true, your heart's desires come true. And that's what it really is about. Because you tune into that underlying divine love that life is made out of in your specific way on the highest level, which means harmoniously with your twin flame. That opens it on the highest way. And that is done through the consciousness state of harmonious twin flame union. And that's what I pass on. Yeah, co creation between me and the Christ Masters. Well, cheers to the new series. So you can for sure type in the chat, of course. And also afterwards, when you see the recording, please let me know with a comment below what your actual questions are or were, or how do you find the information and what we talk about and what we feel about. Because did you know doing anything with me is actually about the sharing of the heart space and simply being together in that topic with all that you are. You open yourself emotionally, spiritually for that thing that is being discussed. And that is already the healing. And that's also why you want to be in a relationship with me in coaching, because that is healing in itself and so much more. And the passing on of harmonious twin flame union, the consciousness state, and so many things. So that is why you want to be in such a relationship. And that is, of course, what I offer beyond all the forms in which I already reach you. The YouTube channel, the other things, the Facebook group, which is a very important one. And, every day, almost every day, I post healing content there. And you can study the central twin flame tool called Key. You can study that perfectly in the group. So, yeah, if that feels for you, please come over there. We also organize meditations there. And we have every month a mini program there with 4 live events that you can attend to get a taste of a couple of approaches to the true twin flame journey, making come true harmonious union for yourself. Yeah, awesome. Anyway, those are some tastes. And to give you a taste of what more we're going to do in this live, let me see. I am going to talk about questions such as, why is it so difficult? How to reach union. So I think I'm actually going to start today with, why is it so difficult? Right? Sounds like a plan. And then we get announcements for twin flame lovers. So I have 4 announcements. And then I would love to get your input. And I hope to do this like this every time from now on. That, after my talk and the announcement, you get to ask your questions. And it can be a personal healing questions. And we're together formulating a little bit of an answer for you that is a true answer. But of course, I cannot bring across the full answer, perhaps, that is possible to bring to you in one-on-one coaching, in a coaching relationship, but it is possible to give you some true nudges. And that can be so helpful and so informative, and we just heal together. And that goes to a height because we close off with a group energy healing. And it is especially possible because I have a twin flame healing, energy healing system developed specifically for this journey. It is a journey that is really like repairing you into being the energetic magician that you really are. And so that you become the creator that you truly are in the light of the divine. But what I integrated in that is the true twin flame. And that makes it super powerful because that is creating from the union place, the literal union place that you share with your true twin flame and that you both share with the divine. That's what union is. That's the definition of the word union. And to take that as the place from which you are a creator, to take that as the place from which you are manifesting. Yeah, the word manifesting, it is used so much, but also misused so incredibly much because people, even people that want to come across as very spiritual, they actually usually mean doing their best with their ego. And that is not a technique that really works for manifesting what your soul truly desires, what your heart truly desires, what your true highest outcome is. So that is a little bit of a loaded word for me, that manifesting. But yeah, and in a sense, you can't even manifest because God manifests through you. So it's really a question of what do you mean with that. But okay, I also do use the word I do because I think it's in principle it can be an okay word, you know. Um right. So that was what were we talking about? Oh yeah, because now I remember. Because I was talking about at the end we do the group healing that'll be with energy work, and I do have a twin flame oriented energy system for you. In an energy system that you are and you live inside of, and the healing power of which can be augmented incredibly when you make use of it through the 9-point system, and also when you learn the energetic strategizing that you can do through it, which is a certain order of those energy fields, and going through it and doing the healing in it. And that is like, yeah, the central system that backs up everything that I stand for, and through which you can reach harmonious twin flame union. And you taste a little bit of that energy work in the group healing at the end. And my earlier lives have also shown that in my meditations and energy healings and whatnot, a little bit for you already. Perhaps not as much as what you can do in one-on-one work. Well, that's of course why it exists, right? Why one-on-one work exists. I have developed very specific energy work for twin flames, and we have seen that people have reached harmonious twin flame union, the state of consciousness. It is all about 2 weeks after having gone through that attunement. It's called twin flame reset, but okay. Should you want that, let me know. But let me see. Yeah, so, and the energy work is not separate from the twin flame tool that I have as a central tool and that I advise on all my social media and have advised for some years, and advise on my YouTube channel and have advised here for some years. And that is the key tool. It is not separate from the key tool. The key tool is going through 4 questions, answering it genuinely while feeling your energy. Well, there it is to start with. And secondly, you feel that it changes something in your energy. And that is also done in a way that is conform the energy work that I stand for. And the healing power of that is extra, is like, not extra, is yeah, reached through the key tool in a very concise and individualized way. So, in a sense, individualized for you for this question that you have now, right? And in a sense, the 9 point energy system is more generalized. So, these were some explanations of what we're going to do and what it refers to and what not. So, let's see. We're also going to see how long it takes today. But I think, if we collect more people that listen in and chat in the chat box that we have here, the longer it can be in the future. We will never make it hours and hours long because I can't do that for you. But yeah, maybe we could go up to 1.5 to 2 hours in certain instances, and we're going to see. Yeah, so we're going to see how long it'll be today, but I'm going to start off with my talk about why is it so difficult. All right, and I also have selected the Rose Oracle cards because I thought that was calling me. This deck was calling me. I felt like it, and it's a beautiful deck. It's very soft, very hard based, and I think it's really a day today for soft, hard based truths. So the truth, no matter, but still soft and gentle is what I mean, and sensitive, hard based. Because yeah, my whole day, my own day, this is in the later afternoon for me right now. Might be in a very different time for you. Um, for me, it was really a profound day with a lot of sensitive healing already. So yeah, I really feel that deeper heart space is really close to me right now. And I was doing some beautiful, beautiful healing with the help of Divine Mother, and within that, so many other helpers too, about, yeah, still sort of rounding off the whole overview of my life's journey until this point of today, and rounding off certain, yeah, overviews that I got from how I grew up and what that meant and what that really was like compared to sane psychology, for instance, which was well, that comparison tells me, could tell anyone that it was really, really unhealthy. But anyway, yeah, relative to the trauma that I was sort of brainwashed into almost, that came out of that, and how that changed. And how that changed specifically in my twin flame healing to completion. The twin flame healing that came together with, before, in and around, and afterwards, the consciousness state of harmonious twin flame union, because it gave me the possibility to heal my trauma to completion. And I found that it will do yours as well. And I was even guided by Divine Mother to also develop specific formats of, let's say, the key tool, but still a specific format that is helpful for when you really have trauma like I did. But it will already motivate it to be pushed forward by the true love of the twin flame that you now committed to fully on the soul level. That's what harmonious twin flame union is. Pushed forward by that commitment and that movement and that motivation. And you will move through these early childhood traumas, or wrong attachment happenings, and however you want to call it, all those psychological words that format, that point to that our psychology is formatted in our early childhood, and that there goes a lot of it not ideal. And yeah, you can do that over to become healthily attached, to become attuned, following divine order, what that is for uniquely you and your true twin flame, and the state of consciousness of harmonious twin flame union, and wanting to keep it moving forward will sort of drag you through it. I say drag because it's that these emotions that can be stuck inside of you that format your off psychology, they're really dragging emotions, and there's a lot of resistance around that and stuff. But yeah, so I have moved through that to completion myself. And that was a whole journey that happened to last approximately 6 years. And that is, yeah, still something that I'm rounding off sort of this morning. And something else, and I feel very, yeah, very, very touched in the heart by it. And something else that was rounding off was how that played into how I did my 24 years, well, maybe actually 18 years, because the last years I did not go to him anymore. My 18 years with my first spiritual teacher, and that colored that very much, how I had been pre-formatted, like early on formatted in the unhealthy way that had colored a lot of how I was in the spiritual school of him in this lifetime. And yeah, still rounding that off too. And it feels very, yeah, as if I sink deeper in a deeper peace after I'm letting go of even more grief. That's what it was. And when you really move through the movements that are reached out to you to go through on the twin flame journey, when you do it correctly, you will also move through things like this. That's why I talk about my stuff. I don't need to talk about my stuff, but we do have a relationship, I feel, and it's a vulnerable relationship. It's an open relationship, and it ought to be like that. And I I have a lot of experience in all such things that very, 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 very many people also go through, have gone through, or don't know yet that they actually have that in their nervous system, in their experiential field, and it would actually be good for them to move through it. Well, going through the spiritual development, which is not the psychological development, that's like underneath that layer, the bigger layer, that's the actual work we do here. And that is how that layer underneath it, is the psychological layer, is being dragged quote unquote forward here. That is also the reason why it can be healed to completion here, because we work on another level, and I really mean that very precisely. There's no way around it, too. What was I saying? Well, I think we're talking about that. You will experience that, and I think it can be good to hear from me a little bit about these things too. And I mean, I could say so many things about it, about the contents of the psychological contents of all of this, but it, because I learned so many things about that. It's like a whole university studies in itself, but you hear that a lot about people that go through narcissistic abuse and whatnot. They, at the end of which was part of what happened to me, and at the end of the day, they say, wow, I didn't know that I was going to be signed up in this lifetime for a university schooling in the science of narcissism and psychiatry, which is actually psychiatry. Anyway, yeah, so I signed up for that too, apparently. But that is all that something that is within actually the bigger layer we're here for. And, that is truly what I can do for you, the bigger layer. So my focus is always on the bigger layer, on the soul level, on the twin flame healing. That's my focus. But these kinds of things are within that, and you are allowed to know that. And also because you are also allowed to be open about that, if that is something that is playing out for you, especially when you start to do the actual twin flame inner work and you come across these things. It can be very helpful to know that it is rather normal in a sense, and you are allowed to be open about that. So that's one thing that I learned from my whole journey, that is that I mean, I thought I was not allowed to be open about that. And that is part of the narcissistic abuse, because that is one of the most sabotaging things that you can do on any level, that you can have or something, because it just tells you lies with it. You can be like, oh, I'm very traumatized and that's very bad. Let me try to heal. But the point with narcissistic kind of things is that it is illusory, it's a lie, and it is manipulating you to do as if that is not so. So it's also in that sense very difficult to heal. It gives this very stubborn feeling. So these were things that were happening to me, so I also know what's going on with you if you have that. And the invitation is actually much much easier than this all sounds. The invitation is, be your true self. That's who you are in union with when you want to be with your true twin flame in harmonious union. That's who you're going to build this life with, your true self. Not with the victim self, not with the one that is healing PTSD, post traumatic stress disorder, or trauma, or whatever you want to call it, early trauma, brainwashing, etc., narcissistic trauma, sexual trauma. That is not the one. The one that is going to be in relationship with your true twin flame is the one that experiences that. The soul. It's a deeper you. Right. And you end up there when you move through the healing that is appointed you, so to speak. So I think this is already, I was just talking about what I did this morning, so what we're doing now and how I was feeling moving into this talk that we do together. But I think this is already an answer to what my talk today was going to be about, and that is, why is it so difficult? Because why is it so difficult? Because we have these kinds of things even when we're not aware of it. And that's the whole point. We're not aware of it. Sometimes because we're narcissistically abused, and the whole point of that is that you're like, you are sabotaged into believing to the bone that you aren't supposed to be conscious of all of this, that you were traumatized. Yeah, very, very detrimental. Anyway, so why is it so difficult? Because we might have unconscious trauma. We might not be aware of that. And that is part of the twin flame block. But the twin flame block is actually on the bigger level, on the soul level. But when you bump into it, these kinds of things might burst out, Ooh, I have a trauma. Ooh, I have psychological pain. It's like it bursts open that well in which the psychological pain is, and that comes forward then and will be worked through, processed through. Because you choose from the bigger level to do so, and then it will be done. That's a little bit how you could see it. And that is absolutely part of what twin flame healing is. But twin flame union and being in harmonious twin flame union and truly being together with them in the flesh and really doing that relationship here now in your manifested life, what you really want, romance and stuff, that is possible when you commit to that deeper level now, and to them now on that deeper level, on the bigger level, on the soul level, no matter what comes up in the bursting open of these psychological traumas and whatnot that need to be worked through and can feel very, very nasty to you. Like, oh my God. And when it bursts open, it can really feel as though it is your twin flame's fault as well. That's the whole point of what happens. That's the whole point of when people point to them and say it's their fault. They do something to me. And that blocks everything. That is the whole point. That means that something inside of you is bursting open on that deeper level because it is your true twin flame and he touches you there underneath that psychological trauma. That then might just come out like a fountain, like, oh, there it is. And that feels to the ego as though, oh, they did it, it's their fault. And that's not okay with me. That's the misinterpretation of the ego of that thing, which is logic because the ego tries to protect you against pain, against this pain, right? And it can be on the personal level, it can be healthy to have some boundaries to too much pain coming in. That sounds kind of healthy, right? You also close the door at night before you go to bed. You don't leave it all hanging open for anyone to walk into your house. You close the door and then you go to bed to sleep, right? It's like common sense. This is the right kind of amount of trying to protect yourself to pain. And it's logic that that comes up in these moments. But it's also on the bigger level, on the soul level healing, on the twin flame journey healing, in the twin flame union, in harmonious twin flame union, it is very clear that it is actually only the ego that is the point ever. Other level, of course, you do common sense things on the physical level with common sense, but now we're talking about the more foundational level, the life level, the twin flame level, the divine level, the source level, the soul level, however you want to call it. And there, it is the ego that holds you back from taking responsibility yourself for the outbursts of psychological pain that need to come out because that will purify you, after which you feel better. You will manifest, there's the word again, better things. Your twin flame will come closer to you. There's more intimacy. And you manifest your path to the divine. You pave it through it. So if that ego is standing there like, no, I reject this pain, it is, well, first of all, it's their fault. They did it. They should make it better for me. And I should control them into doing that for me. That's an ego that does too much their best. While actually all this psychological pain should come up, the ego should step aside so that that can be purified and healed. And because you don't live on that ego level under which this whole volcano of unprocessed psychological pain is bubbling up. You live underneath it. That's where your true self is. That's where you truly live. That's where you want to anchor. That's where you want to move to. That's where you want to place your house, your foundation. Yeah, if you want to build a house, build it on a rock solid foundation that's there. And that is also where your twin flame actually anchors in with you in a positive way. A positive way that is positive without an opposite. Because that's that layer where that is so. And these whole lava streams that want to burst out of psychological pain in that layer on top of it, topped off by the ego, Actually, all of that came into existence by the ego itself as well, the ego personality, because when there wouldn't be the ego personality, these pains would never even started to come into you. They wouldn't, I tell you, they wouldn't. They would never have bubbled up and never have been bottled up and kept there unprocessed. If there would be have been something and there would have not been an ego, you would have confronted the situation, processed it, and it would fizzle out of you. Next thing, there it goes. Next thing, there it goes. But this is bottled up in your, maybe you could say, your unconscious mind. Well, there we open a whole box of psychology again. Who knows how many theories are about that psychologically, what that means and whatnot. And I do have a fair grasp on that stuff, and how certain fields in the brain also work that and with that and whatnot. And this the center of the emotional fields, the limbic system, and then you have at the center of that the amygdala, and that is the center in your brain that is sort of having controlling all these unconscious memories and whatnot, pains. And there's a very overstressed amygdala when you have a lot of that. And that should let go of its burnout until you worked all of that out, all facing all your unconscious emotions, emotional content is what happens there. So what can you do? You can speak to the divine and let a light shine on that, on the amygdala, on the unconscious, hidden, unfaced emotional content inside of you, and process it now. And everything to completion until you're there where you're harmonious with your twin flame in all aspects, because harmonious twin flame union starts already when you've just touched it. And then you're going to have your first anchor there that starts to grow a little bit inside of that bedrock. And then you want to make that complete, like in the breadth of it, the breadth of it. You want to have that complete in all seconds of the day, complete in all topics of life, complete in all elements of being human. And, if there are elements of being human that are not deeply traumatized with enormous amounts of lava for you, well, I'm happy for you. Don't be mistaken. That's fantastic. Oh my God, that is fantastic. Meet your twin flame there. Go to that deeper bedrock inside of your experiential field. Be happy there. Be joyful. Have a romantic candlelight dinner with them there. If romantic candlelight dinners for you are absolutely free of inner space, made out of inner space, they are peaceful for you, they have never been traumatized, well, then enjoy these awesome, beautiful romantic dinners with them. No worries. But for some, there is hardly something to find in the beginning that really touches them on that level. Some get into connection with their true twin flame, but they can't keep it there for more than a conversation. And then they're already triggered, right? It doesn't get more in the breadth than that one. And then the lava starts coming out of this volcano. And that's, of course, what needs to happen. But what you can do is move to the consciousness state of harmonious twin flame union. And that's what I can help you with to completion. It's a very high vibration. And when you're in there, your human part, your mental, emotional, physical, and therefore also psychological beingness inside of that starts to transform, to bring everything to that foundational layer that is very high vibrational until the twin flame vibration, let's say. The union vibration is perhaps better to say, even. And then you start to bring everything there. But then still, it can be in the beginning still very narrow. Like, I only have this little pinprick of an anchor in my harmonious twin flame union, but I sort of need to make that wider. And that's the work that you're gonna do. Maybe I can only exchange with them so much, and then it sort of stops. And then you still need to make that so much wider. And maybe you come across all these things that I talked about that I'm still very much closing off and rounding off in my own healing this morning. After 4 years after harmonious twin flame union. Yeah. So we're going to get a card. Plant yourself in the here and now. Integration, embodiment, grounded action. And that's what we were talking about. Thank you, Divine Mother. This one moved to Mother Rose. Returning towards each other. Compassion, humanity. The intimate form of the rose itself with all her sensitive petals that open from a force from within. And that slowly starts to spread her scent from within. But when you try to open a rose from the outside, when it is still in a bud, you ruin the whole rose and it won't bloom. It needs to come from the inside. That's with you the same. You need roots in the space of harmonious twin flame union to start to bloom there. You can't open it from the outside. You need to start from the inside out. When you go to harmonious union and inside harmonious union, still always the same. Beautiful. Thank you, Divine Mother. And I did want to talk about more about why is it so difficult. And another reason I think that the twin flame journey, coming together with them in union, is so difficult is because you're not committed. And this was sort of strange to me as well in the past. I didn't know what it was because I had been grown up, completely weird with fake emotions and fake feelings, and there was no congruence. It was not congruent between outer life and behavior and inner feeling and emotions. That was not connected. That's how I grew up. And you had to behave like that, otherwise you would be shouted at or beaten. So that is how you fear a child into disconnecting from itself, among others, among very many other techniques that are all so subtle that they could still be denied. That's, I think, what they call plausible deniability. Very interesting when you learn all the words for all these different manipulations. There are a lot of them, it's like a full ABC of it. Which is not only for narcissistic abuse, maybe it's for everyone. It could be interesting to learn something about, because there's a lot of that is in what society might say is normal human interaction, but maybe it's really not. And also like politics and like public interactions in our societies is also pretty narcissistic. So that's very revealing. But anyway, I'm on a tangent again. We were actually talking about that commitment was like strange to me because it presupposes being in congruency with yourself. And that is already the whole thing. So, are you congruent with yourself? Are your inner and outer aligned? And then you're going to commit to the thing itself that you want to commit to. But that's the easy part then. That's commitment in general. And we want to commit to the true twin flame. Okay, fine. Beautiful. I mean, not fine. It sounds pretty negative. Beautiful. And that means, of course, that you need to align with the divine as well. So it needs to be the divine, you, and you need to be in congruency with yourself. Not dissociate from yourself, from any part of yourself, not even the smallest, tiniest part of yourself. Don't overlook yourself. Don't numb out when you feel yourself. You are a whole of mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual beingness. It's a whole. Don't reject a part of yourself, not even a hair. That whole, in alignment with the divine, not split into two, not dissociated, not incongruent, but congruent. And then you commit to the true twin flame. And yes, you're also going to commit to them. It is a spiritual marriage, but it is a real marriage. And so you also commit to moving through everything that is brought up and brought out through that marriage. And that'll be your spiritual healing for the rest of your time. In itself already. And you can also simply do your individual spiritual development, going deeper. That's why the spiritual work in my body of work, how I teach, is included in doing spiritual work in general. I can see both avenues in that. Anyway, so you are going to commit to them. And that was strange in the past for me as well. It was like, I had no experience with that. I don't know. I think I was confused about all of these behaviors that didn't work in the direction of dating and relationships and whatnot, but they were not congruent in any way. But in another way, I always wanted to commit to him because I felt this deep, deep longing. And when I went away from my middle school time to study at the university in another city, I felt this deep, deep pain in my heart. Deeply sad, desperately sad, because I had left something behind that was my big love, and I was sure of that. And that was the twin flame. And that was that kind of love in my heart. And that was unequivocally clear to me. Although, see, this still then took me 2 decades to really completely and utterly to completion heal. Although I still connected it to the wrong guy. I did. Which is so strange looking back, but also not, because I was dissociated because of all this childhood trauma and whatnot. So what does dissociating mean? that you look at the wrong person for the inner correct feeling, right? That's exactly what that is. So there you go. And I remember I had actually a relatively nice relationship of 2.5 years when I went to study in that other city. This guy came up to me and wanted to have this relationship with me, and he was actually a pretty nice guy in a sense. And I ended that because I saw in my heart that I was destined for someone else, the true twin flame. And I saw that and I felt that. And I felt like I needed to act on it. Otherwise, I was not real. I was not congruent. So, with that, I actually committed to my true twin flame. It was a step in that direction, although there was still a lot of developments in the future at that point and a lot of time to elapse before that could be completely come true. But that was already, I mean, that was, I think, a form of what is pointed out in this idea of commitment. But I still had to learn that commitment is going in with all that you are, not dissociate some parts. Because at that time, I just did that because I knew that in my heart. But it didn't go further than that, not much. But the point for the twin flame commitment is you commit with everything that you are in it. Your behavior, your communication, your money, your investments, your direction in life, where you live, your health, all your relationships. I don't know, all life aspects. You put everything there. And make that a one-pointedness, that direction. So you surrender completely into that. That is the commitment that's being asked from you. I'm not kidding you. But it's so worth it. I mean, come on. It's ridiculous to think that that's not worth it. So, but yeah, that's again why is it so difficult? Because the ego stands there and says, well, no, maybe you should, still invest in something else and someone else too, because you never know. So that's not what that is. If you want to be with a twin flame, you should commit everything you have and are into it. And then it works. Worked for me. Worked for my students. So there you go. And I have another one, and that is investment and prioritizing. Well, I think that sort of sounds like ingredients of the commitment story, right? If you don't want to invest in yourself, which is the deeper self is your union. Yeah. Then you are saying to yourself that you don't find yourself, the deeper self is your union, worth anything. So it will be difficult to make it come true like that, don't you think? And that's indeed the case. And prioritizing. Yeah, prioritize. You need to prioritize it over anything else and to completion. And I think that's also why it's difficult, because people don't do that. People don't want to invest in themselves, which they actually say to themselves, I don't find you valuable in any sort of way, which is really like a twin flame repellent. And people have difficulty with what was it? Prioritizing the twin flame. Because yes, it means you prioritize the twin flame over all other possible lovers and sort of best friends, but actually you're sort of doing a partner relationship secretly, or you're prioritizing the spiritual development that leads to harmonious twin flame union over going to all kinds of other coaches and teachers, and that only bring you in confusion about it, and and whatnot. When you do that, you're not prioritizing it. You need to prioritize it. But people say like, yeah, but I don't have yet money enough, so I'm working on that, and I don't have, and I don't think that. I think that my health should be dealt with by my doctor, and not by twin flame development. But at the end of the day, you get to learn that everything is one, and you are investing in this oneness, and this is the one direction that is being asked of you to invest in and to prioritize. And when you do that, you will have success. So, and also like, yeah, I don't have the money yet. Well, you didn't prioritize it monetarily yet. Almost all people in the world, at least in the Western world, have access to money. So you didn't prioritize it. That's what you did, and that's okay. But prioritizing is the solution to why is it so difficult. Solution is prioritize it. That's why I speak about these topics, right? It's not to upset you or anything. It could upset you, and then you can do the key tool, which is really here to make you move through anything that upsets you, especially also something that I say that upsets you, because the solution for anything twin flames is accessible through me. So it would be logic if you feel upset by me. And it is also an enormous key for you if you use the key tool and use it well on what you feel towards me, because that will be an entrance for you to go deeper on your twin flame journey, and it will give you the results that you desire, right? That's how it works. So let's get another card about this, what we just talked about. The rose without thorns. You have a right to have pleasure, peace, the sweetness of life. And through commitment and prioritizing and investment, you get the rose without thorns, because you become completely aligned and accessible for that which wants to be birthed through you, which is your union. And it will happen for you. So let's see where we are now. Stay tuned, because we will answer your questions. So think already about, what is your question? Do you have healing questions? We will answer them, because I did now the first part of the live, and that is the talk. And now we move on to the announcements. And after the announcement, you give me your input. Well, you can tell me how you're doing and feeling anytime. So please do so. Write in the chat, say hi. Where are you living? That would be nice to know where on the earth you are listening to me. And but yeah, after that, we're going to do to focus on something that you bring to the table, a twin flame problem, a spiritual development problem that you bring to the table, and see if there's a solution for that. And at the end, we are going to do a little bit of a group healing, although everything we discuss together is supposed to be healing just by our exchange and talk about things, right? So the announcements, here they come. Maybe I should, like do, I don't know, like sound elements or something in the parts. Yeah, should have started out with that. Anyway, so the announcements for twin flame lovers, there they are. And the first announcement is that I have out now my new twin flame book. And this is how it looks. It doesn't look like it at this point, but it is a paper book. It's a paperback, and it's called Twin Flames, Manifesting Your Abundant Life of Love. It is the green book of creation, because it holds the twin flame method integrated into my spiritual energy development method in general. And if you want to study with me, that's a must to have. You can buy it through Amazon, and the link will be in the description box. That's true. It is really there. And yeah, it's only like 22 US dollar. And of course, it needs to be sent to you too. So that is a couple of dollar too. And yeah, I think that's awesome. After a decade of work on it, the book is out. And I think that's just an amazing milestone. So get it now if you're serious about going deeper with me, then please buy it. Second announcement. We have a mission workshop coming up. Because if there's one thing that is like a twin flame secret for twin flame healing yourself into your twin flame union that is unknown, then it must be that twin flame mission is very supportive. But what is it? What is it for uniquely you? How does that feel in your heart? What is that? This sharing of love, the love vibration that you want to give. Because it is in your union. And how can you support yourself making the most out of that, where you are now on the twin flame journey? And align better with what it truly is. And through aligning better with what it truly is, helping your union come together. So much. Well, you're going to taste from that in the first weekend of July. It's going to be a Saturday and Sunday workshop. It's not the whole day. It's 3 days on the first day, 3 days on the second day, with a little bit of homework between the two sessions. 3 hours on the first day, 3 hours on the second day. Did I say that wrong? Well, there it is. And we also, before it all starts up, I take you on a one-on-one call before the whole weekend starts to get clear on what it is that you can do to prepare yourself the best to get the most out of your mission weekend. And afterwards, I give you a whole package full of mission-oriented stuff that you can work further with for a long time. It is not really an information workshop, although there will be information. It is mostly an inner work workshop that is accessible for anyone on any time in their journey. And it will be so eye-opening to you. And I guarantee that transformational miracles will take place for you. The link to know more about this workshop, the Twin Flame Mission Workshop, and to buy your ticket is also in the description box below. Yeah, feel welcome, and also if you have questions about that, please come forward and ask them to me. I don't know what your questions are if you don't come with them. So please feel free in whatever way you feel fit, maybe on Facebook, maybe on Instagram, maybe you just want to send me an email or just put it in the comment box now and in the chat. That would be fine, of course. All right, that's the mission workshop. And then we have a strategy session. Yes. If you are like, Petra, can we work one-on-one? I want to experience the depth of our relationship. I can take you on a VIP session or other things that feel fit for uniquely you at this time. And we can discuss that in a strategy session. Ask yours. You will meet me one-on-one and we discuss where you are, what would be helpful for you to do and invest in, and then our relationship can start. The strategy session is accessible through the link below. And then we have the ACIM event, and that's tomorrow. It is something that takes place in our Facebook group, which is our community, support community with all kinds of events and downloads and whatnot that support you. And the event of tomorrow, a live event online in the Zoom room that starts up in the Facebook group tomorrow, is A Course in Miracles book reading club. And that's why it's called ACIM, A Course in Miracles. And yeah, that's one of the events that we have every month in the group. So I just wanted to mention that. That's tomorrow. You would be very welcome. Come to the Facebook group, make a Facebook account, click on the group, come inside of it, and make use of everything that is offered to you there on almost every day of the month. But tomorrow, specifically, A Course in Miracles. And we read from this beautiful, profound spiritual method a little bit in a way of an oracle, like opening the book, and there it is. I do not perceive my own best interests. Lesson 555. And then we talk about it, and we do that tomorrow because everything in that book is so supportive for the consciousness change that is very helpful, supremely, ultimately helpful, um, on the twin flame journey to get to the consciousness of harmonious twin flame union. So that goes through that book very well, and I love it because it is the underlying method of the Christ masters, and I co-create with them. It's not my method because my method is here, also a book. All right, so but tomorrow we read from the Christ Master book, A Course in Miracles, and there we go. You would be welcome to join. It's always awesome. And it always comes out that in a sort of strange way, something comes up, something gets out of my oracle treatment of the book, opening it up, and there it is. That is just right for everyone that is attending and touches something fundamental in them that they just needed to hear to get deeper in their journey that is closer to their union. It happens every time. That's really how this whole thing is designed. So there you go. Make use of it. These were the announcements. Awesome. So now we move to issues to heal. So what are your issues that you want to heal? What's your request? What's your question? Where are you on the journey, and what are you experiencing that you want to move past? What is the point that you are stuck at? What is your block that you have noticed that you have? Let me know, because then I can advise something for you, maybe an energetic exercise, maybe a suggestion for how to do the key exercise that you could do here, maybe something else. Maybe I would need to advise you to take the first initiation, which is a healing that is for very many Western people that in the Western world, and specifically actually almost everyone that comes to me, because I give this initiation. So that's how that works on the deeper unconscious spiritual level. They have a problem with a certain curse, you could say, of being excluded from spiritual protection. And that is within the first initiation that I healed it for you. So maybe that's the one that you need, and I will tell you. And knowing that will be an incredible relief already for you. So that's why I asked to bring you your questions to me so that I can react to it, And maybe we can answer the entire question in the live right now. Maybe later on, I need to bring you to another place to really get everything out of it. But yeah, that's why I have issues to heal as a part of this call now, from now on forward, every Saturday, issues to heal. So your input, my answer of how to heal your twin flame issue or whatever you have on the journey towards becoming the source magician that you can be, which is just refers to the great power that you will have in your harmonious twin flame union, because that is very much a source connected love that you inhabit there, and it will make you almost a magician, and like the one that can manifest what the heart desires, and will manifest, but not manifesting with the ego. You know what I said in the very beginning of this whole call? Now it's manifesting through beingness, more like, because that's what you are, and because your consciousness is there, and because your whole energetic experience is healing into that fact too. starts to roll itself out in your life. And that is how it will be manifested through everything that organically already happens authentically in your life. It's not something that you place on top of it like a mask, like with the ego personality, but it's something that organically grows from the inside out, just like the mother rose that cannot be opened from the outside, because you will just ruin the rose. It will never bloom when you try to open the rose bud from the outside. It will never open. Needs to open from the inside. And that's the kind of manifestation that we mean here. But you can stand actively in that. You can stand assertively in that. And that is your empowerment that I at the same time try to bring you towards, right? This is the empowerment, people. This is the call for you to be empowered as the creator that you are. It's just not the ego, because that is the answer to why is it so difficult, which was the answer of my first part for today about talking about questions that I want to answer, such as why is it so difficult? Because of the ego. So, what is your question? What's your point? What is your healing request? What is your block that you're facing right now? Let me know. Maybe it is that your true twin flame is not answering anymore on your text on your phone. Maybe it is that they walked away from the relationship and you want them back. Maybe it is that they have another and you don't like that and you're completely confused about how can it be that they're my twin flame but they have someone else. These can be situations that we hear a lot about that you can face in the twin flame journey, and there it is. But when I don't have input, and I don't seem to have right now, although I know you're there, welcome, welcome. So I thought about, let's answer how to make the next step. And I said that, how to make the next step. I actually think about a way to answer that is a little bit more creative. Well, maybe more creative than the standard way. Because how to make the next step does mean forgoing the ego. It does mean going deeper. It does mean heal something, so that you sink deeper in the reality that you already are in twin flame union at the core. Deeper to that bedrock where you let your anchor down. So how to make the next step is always do inner work, twin flame inner work with the twin flame inner work tool. Preferably, because that just makes it very complete and concise, and you know that you're doing it right. If you do the 4-step tool right, of course, the key tool. That is maybe the standard answer that I could give you. How to make the next step, do the key tool. Which is, one, you need to phrase what's going on. I'm upset because they are dating someone else. And that makes me feel rejected. And that's step one. And you're now going to turn that around. And we have a version 1 of key, and then you are going to turn the energy, the emotion around to a deeper felt feeling that you long for, while concluding that you already own that and are that and have that and stand for that. And the other version is that you're going to point everything that points to the world and your twin flame and other people around to yourself and see what that gives, and then see how that can be true possibly, and then start to feel what kind of reaction you have to this strange exercise, and then nevertheless continue to the next step that asks you to let love flow to where you need it so much, which has become clear through the former steps, and do that to completion. Let the love flow to the place in you where you feel you need it to completion. So for This key exercise for the question of I feel upset because he has another or she has another that makes me feel rejected. I mean, in version 1, you will get to the point that you start to realize that you actually desire so much to be accepting of yourself, every part of yourself, every hair of yourself. Yeah. You just long for that so much, and that you can actually live as an example for yourself and the others and the world as someone that does self accept, be the exception and do self accept. Do not self reject. And and that and that you can step into that already, because that's what you long for. You must know it already, so you step into that. And in version 2, you might come to know that you have another in some sort of way. Maybe it's because you spend energy on something that you shouldn't spend it on, which is spiritually unhealthy for you to do, even though it looks like such a nice person to spend your time with, for instance. And then you let the love inside of that emptiness in yourself that has left yourself so long ago already. So let's let the love in right now. And heal that, patch that up, that energy leak inside of you. Because that's what it points out. So that would be a very shortened version for you of a key exercise, really as an example. We just glanced over it, I understand, of how to make the next step if that would be, for instance, the situation of he has another or she, and it makes me feel rejected. And you have to do that genuinely. These are genuine exercises, right? But I did think of this. That's why I said I will pick something up there that actually is like even more original answer than the key exercise, which is always the answer to what is the next step. Do the key exercise. That is the next step. So we will be having this card of my own card deck as the answer. There we go. Thank you, Divine Mother, for helping me pick this card. So these are my cards in the Manifest and Heal card deck, which is based on the 9-point energy system that I stand for. And it is written very much to fit with your mission. We have coming up the mission workshop. Just an example to show a little bit about how the cards look. But you can just as much the creative identity central card. It's like the highest card. It's like the awesome card. It's like allow yourself to fill your heart, and it is filled. That's like the creative identity card. Creative identity is the name of my entire methodology. So there you go. Because we are creators, right? But you can just as much in the booklet of the cards read the things that are general in your twin flame union and in your journey, not only mission things. It's just I can read. So you should read it with a broad perspective in your mind's eye. All right, but we do have the card. This was the one that I got out. It is silver with white lines, so that's a little bit hard to see. I'm actually currently making a new version of the whole deck. How about that? A whole new version. And this already took me years to get to here. And I would like to have a new version and make it also available for you. And one of the problems that I have it's just going to be much too expensive for you. You know, it's going to be very expensive. Anyway, we'll see where it goes. Maybe I'll just make my own beautiful new deck again, only for myself, and then we'll finally maybe get a solution for like everyone. Who knows? This card is the Acknowledger series, and of that, it is this seller. It talks about what. The number is C3 2.2, and the text is from service or product to value or money. Well, and didn't we talk about that? And that's how you can see the Manifest and Heal cards. You can see them as mission and business, mission business, talking about service and product, and transforming and being in a transformation process to bring that to value and money in your processes that you're doing in mission and whatnot. But it is also about from you and or them to feeling your value, you know, becoming clear on your value, feeling that you're the divine creator that you truly are, being that. C 2.2. All right. So I will now read the text and then we see how it could be an answer to the question. Which I hope it is. Transforming incomprehension. The value of your contribution can sometimes be very invisible and indiscernible in physical sense for people that do not sense it yet because they live in a more coarse perception. This is where incomprehension can occur, and you could be incredibly distraught and out of whack by this. Your hand reaches deep in the ocean, and when you share from that place, then people that do not perceive until that depth, well, here it is, the hand in the ocean, may even call you a fraud in the worst case scenario, or in a less awful one, for not competent. This is all not true. When you are genuinely on the path, do key regularly, go deeper as a result, see your life change, go through initiations, and then await the results with patience in your feelings and orientation of wisdom, then you do not need to second guess yourself, for that you have something of value to offer. This may mean that people fall away. However, every touch they got from you in that process can be later a reason for them to return. Later, in the sense that you do not need to know when that will be. It is even possible when they make their last journey after dying. Your value, however, is not depending on that and stands autonomously on the path as a shining entity in itself. This radiance will draw the right people to you. When this seems not like a lot of students or followers, then consider taking an intimate circle of clients on your journey with you that you prepare to later help a much larger group of people or a secondary circle around you. Your value can thus echo long and deep even when your island seems to be pretty small. Take this on board when you price your services. Choose prices with eternal value. Do not be afraid if your value seemingly repels people. You sense what many unconsciously are searching for, and you will become a magnet for high value when you keep at it. You will find your way through the thick bushes of incomprehension and stand strong as a pool of fertile water. The universe always honors this, right? Transforming incomprehension. So, what I feel when we look at our example question of issues to heal, how to make the next step by looking at what is going on in your twin flame union. And I gave then as a more specific example, I am upset because my twin flame is dating someone else, is with someone else, and that makes me feel rejected. So the answer that I feel comes through this card explanation, even though it sounds like a mission-oriented explanation, it actually talks about um, that your value of of your contribution can sometimes be very invisible and indiscernible in the physical sense. It looks like you need to, I don't know, push the girlfriend of your twin flame out, with your own bare hands, because that is how they will learn their lesson. And you make clear that now it's ending, and because you are rejecting me. Not necessarily. The point is that your healing can be internal and invisible. And even though people may think that doesn't do anything, and it seems incomprehensible, and it seems like you're just unfit for life, that is not so. That is how it works. That is how the universe functions. Your twin flame will come closer to you through that process. And can also be like not understood, because you can also do an outer action to them sometimes, if you feel called to it, if you feel that that is the right time for that for you, you can do that. And then it can be also not understood, and maybe people walk away. But you don't need to worry about that, because who is meant to be with you will come to you through these kinds of processes. And who do you think that is? Also, your true twin flame. Because you are valuable, and you're proclaiming that you are valuable through these processes and through this key exercise, even though it seems invisible. You are proclaiming that you are valuable, and that is the whole point of the twin flame, of wanting to have your life on the ascended level, which this is, of wanting to be all that you can be. That's the whole point. That's the whole point of this twin flame healing. And then you stand strong as a pool of fertile water. And the universe always honors this. So now I sort of translated that, which we had as a sort of mission sounding answer to the manifest and heal card, to the more union sounding interpretation that I feel with it. So I hope that helped for this question. That was the example question. So next time I want to have your questions put in the chat. But now we move on to the new part of this new format of Twin Flame Abundance Live. And that's going to be the group healing. So, oh yeah, next part. How do you like my bell? Okay. Today, for the group healing, we're going to look in one of the 9 energy points of my Twin Flame energy work. We're going to talk about it and feel that. And that will be your twin flame healing. And this is going to be awesome, actually. I'm going to immediately show you that I am remaking my Manifest and Heal card deck. All right, I am remaking it because I'm going to show you this one card for where are the old ones, actually? Because, those, I know I showed them to you, but it's actually something else. There's a little extra part of the whole deck. And these are the symbols that belong to those 9 energy points. And I already made new designs for them. And I'm going to show you the new designs for what actually the old design was. This is the card that we're going to do. Oh! It's on another pile because it was in my personal cards of the day. Yeah, I also do inner work. I already told you this morning. So this is the energy fields I want to. No, it's not true. All right. What a chaos. What a fertile chaos. We have this one. Yeah, this one. Maybe next time we also will make a drawing out of it. But I just prepared it like this, and I still feel that it's correct. Otherwise, I would not do it. But so this is correct. I had prepared it correct, but I just showed you the wrong one. What a chaos. Anyway, so this is the one we're gonna use for the energy healing, for the group healing today. End of our life. And yeah, stick around because we are going to do a great thing now. So this is energy point one, and it actually signifies a ball that you could sink into, or something could sink, everything could sink into. It's like this bedrock that we talked about that you want to anchor into, remember? Underneath everything, where the true love is. And in your physical, energetic beingness right here, it is underneath your feet. It's how you're anchored in the earth. And it actually is about how the earth carries you as a ball that is always here for you as a mother and carries everything that you are. You can never fall deeper than the earth itself. So never be afraid to let yourself completely come down. Through all the things that seem so impossible, through everything that hurts so much, through the block that seems impossible to break, and let yourself down on the earth in the spiritual light, right? Is the bedrock of what you can sink to, and you cannot sink any lower. And from there on out, it's the place that is faithful to you and commits to you. How about that? And that's also why spirituality is of sober people that stand with both feet on the earth, and it's not for dreamers. I am actually pretty much of a dreamer myself in my personality, and I think that will never truly leave me. But spiritually, I needed to ground so much, so desperately, and that's when things were made true. So we're going to do this very foundational meditation on the design that I made for it, the new design for the Earth card. Card number one. So maybe you want to, feel your feet, feel your legs for a moment. Feel that you're sitting. Feel that you have weight, and let the weight down. I hope that you're sitting. When you're standing, you can also feel your legs and your feet, and that you have weight. But it is advisable to, for a moment, sit down. Meditation works better like that. We're going to meditate on this new picture that I made for the new version of my card deck. Card number one for energy field number one, where the earth carries you. And feel that she is here for you now. And she is pulling on you, actually. And she's asking you, I'm here. Please give me everything that you cannot carry anymore. Please let go of everything that is too heavy for you. Please let go of all the energies that are too much. Please let go of all the emotions that are unresolved. Please give them to me. Please bring them down instead of them bringing you down. Please bring them down and put them on the floor. And let all the energy now from in your head, from in your face, from in your neck, from in your chest, from in your shoulders, in your arms and in your hands, and the energy in your chest and in your belly, the energy in your back, the energy in your hips, your whole sexual area, the energy in your upper legs, in your knees, in your lower legs, in your ankles, in your feet, in your toes, and in the soles of your feet, that is no longer needed, can now flow to the earth through the soles of the feet that you energetically open towards the earth, and let it all flow to the earth. And the earth says, I'm here. I'm underneath you. I'm the big bowl that will catch everything for you. I will let everything go to the center of the earth that you don't need anymore. And I will reflect back to you what is the love that can be purified out of it and sent back to you. It will be sent up to you again through a light that will be here, emerging from the darkness of my inner womb. And it will shine back to you, and it will touch you through the soles of your feet, and they can take it in. We were eclipsed there, so that can also happen. And it will be taken in by the soles of your feet and taken into your legs upwards, into your spine, into your belly, into your chest, into your shoulders and your arms and your neck and your head and your face and your brain. I will always be there to have this exchange with you. This is the most fundamental thing that I can do for you and that you can do for yourself. You are here to be united with your true twin flame in harmonious union so that the earth will benefit from your presence. The earth in all its elements, as nature, as dark, underneath the earth kind of intimacy with the spirit of earth, as humanity, as people, as a social circle, as a community, as spiritual work done on the earth as a spiritual school. It's your contribution to all of this. And it is the most fundamental contribution that you can give that should be prioritized. And it starts with letting go into the earth everything that you are, and let me sort out as energy point number 1, the power of the earth, the spiritual power of the earth. Let me sort out what I will send to the center of the earth that you no longer need, and what I will send back to you as a light that feeds you. And you allow the light in from me, from the earth, in your feet, in your legs, in your belly, in your chest, in your face, in your brain, in your arms, in your hands. Thank you for trusting me. And if you feel for it, you can bring your hands up very slowly and bring the palms of your hand very slowly, very gently, without pushing against each other. Close the fingers. Maybe you want to rest the thumb to your chest as a gesture of gratitude towards yourself that you allowed yourself for a short moment to have a healing exchange with energy point 1, the earth, the bowl, the spiritual power of grounding deeper than you, deeper than your personal reach. Yeah. Maybe you want to even bend your neck until your lips lightly touch your fingers and slowly come up again. That's an extra gesture of thanking yourself that you can do. You can open your hands again and bring them back to let them rest on your upper legs, for instance. So this was a small gesture of thanking yourself for this small exchange with energy point number 1. And when we did the thanking gesture, my neighbors began to make a lot of noise with, maybe you heard that, maybe not. Maybe that was a sign from Mother Earth that she's starting to work on us, right? So, yeah, that can feel refreshing already to be here now. So, that was around 1.5 hours. I hope to see you again next week, same time, same place. Please feel free to bring me your questions because we will find answers to your questions, right? Next week. And we'll also see what the topic is for next week that I will be talking about in the beginning, because we keep the uh, elements of the talk of the whole Abundance Live, Twin Flame Abundance Live session. My talk, announcements, your questions, your healing requests, and a group energy healing, and then close it off. Thank you so much for attending, and I hope to see you soon. Yeah, much love from Petra.